Good afternoon, everybody. This is Christopher Bennett here with the National Weather Service here in Slidell, Louisiana, and we're going to give you a really quick update on the severe weather situation for tomorrow, along with a little look at Thursday, maybe into Friday, with what should be rather strong winds across the area. Real quick, I just want to do a quick check to see if everybody can hear me, make sure my mic is working well, and you can see the screen. Still waiting to see if anybody can hear me right now. All right, cool. Looks like we're good to go. So again, thank you for joining us. My name is Christopher Bennett with the National Weather Service here. A little bit different. We're doing live on both Facebook and Twitter right now. Not YouTube. We'll post that to YouTube later. Still trying to work out a few little kinks to make sure everything is working right now. And it looks like everything is working on Twitter as well. So we'll go ahead and get started real quick. First thing I do want to go is what is actually occurring right now. I'm going to pull up the radar right here, and then let me switch you over. So this is the radar. This is actually out. LBB is Lubbock. We're looking at the Texas Panhandle, kind of West Texas and West Oklahoma. And you can see there's a few storms that are going up pretty good. These warnings right now mostly are severe for wind and hail, but there was one tornado warning earlier. It looks like that was right into Oklahoma. And we are right now at the beginning of this severe weather event that we're looking for. Should impact our area tomorrow and tomorrow night. So the reason we want to look at this is because we want to see how the models are actually handling right now. If they are handling the timing right now, the location really good, we can put a little bit more confidence then into what the forecast may be tomorrow. So these storms, a lot of lightning with them. See if I can zoom in some. Quite a bit of lightning with these storms. They're going severe rather quickly with once they began to develop. The weather offices in Lubbock and in Norman have issued warnings rather quickly on them. So it shows you the potential for some of these storms. Now granted, this is a different environment. They're worried about hail. We're not going to necessarily be worried about hail as this system moves through our region. Quickly looking at, we'll pull up the satellite real quick. This satellite image right now is the water vapor image. Basically, all I want to show you right now is the system right now that we're watching, and it is right. Pull that up. This is what we call a trough right now. You can see the winds on this side are going down to the southeast, whereas on what is considered downstream are moving more to the north. And basically this system right now is going to dig down into our area, and what should provide the severe weather potential for much of the southern plains and into basically the deep south or the north central Gulf Coast. So let me delete that, turn this back off. So again, the focus really, this is the system we're watching. As you can see, this little blow up right here, these are the storms that we're currently developing. We saw on radar in the Texas Panhandle and western Oklahoma. This is the line that is going to move through central Oklahoma, Texas, so like Oklahoma City, Dallas. It's going to move into the western Arkansas and then southeastern Texas overnight and early tomorrow morning, probably around sunrise. A lot's going to depend on when we see our weather potential, because right now most models have that line kind of near Houston right around 6, 7 a.m. If we wake up tomorrow morning and we see that it is east of Houston, it looks like things could be trending faster. If it's west and a good bit west of Houston, then we could be looking at a different time frame. There was one model that did notice that they trended a little bit slower than what everything had been trending for the last 24 hours. So just something for us to keep an eye on. If you have been watching some of our products, reading our discussions, we were really confused or trying to figure out how this was all going to play out due to Hurricane Rick that was in the Pacific Ocean. That weekend as it made landfall, obviously, and was moving off to the northeast, there really isn't much reflection right now at all. Looking at the water vapor image right now, so that's really not going to have as much of an impact. It looks like there is a little bit of increase in lift, some increase in some of the other dynamics. However, it looks like our main impact is going to be from this deep trough that we have been discussing. So the Storm Prediction Center right now, this is the outlook for day 1. This is the current outlook of what's going on. As you can see, remember we were pointing out the storms earlier. The storms were in western Oklahoma and the Panhandle of Texas where they're firing. So they're just now getting into that area that they're expecting the weather to progressively get worse overnight. So that's what we're going to watch. Right now, again, these storms have just started, so they haven't had any reports yet. However, we keep a close eye on it to find out if we start getting any reports from, there we go. So there is some reports right now. It looks like you got one report of hail, 2 reports of hail, 1 report of wind. And hail is very common with these storms out in the plains. So we'll just have to keep an eye on this and see how many reports we get overnight and see the potential, how strong this system really could be. So going really quickly into what we're expecting right now. This is this is the day 2. This is the slight risk for, let's see, I'm sorry, get this going for some reason. There we go. So this is the slight risk right now over pretty much all of southeast Louisiana and southern Mississippi. It looks like the slight risk goes just south of Jackson, Mississippi area. So even like Natchez and Brookhaven, they're in the slight risk. However, you can see all of our area from southwest Mississippi, which will include Woodville, the Baton Rouge Metro, all of the New Orleans Metro, the North Shore, all of coastal Mississippi, so Pascagoula, Biloxi, Picayune, Poplarville. We are all in a slight risk right now. Having to keep a close eye on because, again, there's been a little bit of uncertainty with it, especially with what the possible remnants of Rick would have done to it as it rolled through the area. But it looks like Rick may not have as much of an impact on us right now. So as we're watching this system tomorrow, we're going to get a little bit better idea. Do we need to be worried about a strong squall line? Do we need to be worried about storms out ahead of the squall line? But the other thing is that there is still a possibility we don't see much of anything. If we see a lot of thunderstorms develop in the Gulf of Mexico and just south of the coast, what that can do is it can what we call cut off. It'll cut off the system, cut off the moisture and the instability transport north into the area. So that'll be something else to watch. If we see a lot of thunderstorms basically develop just off the southeast Texas coast and south of Lake Charles into the Gulf of Mexico, that could be an indication that things are maybe a little bit further south than what we're expecting, and then the severe chances will be far lower than what we're currently showing. However, if there is no convection or thunderstorms in the Gulf of Mexico, and we get a lot of breaks in the clouds tomorrow and get some more sun than we're expecting, it's not out of the realm of possibility that we may see kind of an upgrade to an enhanced risk across some of the area. There's going to be a lot of forcing coming in the area, a lot of shear. So there will be some aspects that are quite high and quite impressive for this system. However, the biggest issue right now that we've seen is that everything just doesn't line up. There are some timing issues. Like when we get the best instability, we are losing the forcing. When we got the best shear, we don't quite have the instability. So if things kind of transition a little bit slower or faster, things could line up to make the storms a little bit more potent than we're currently expecting. But looking at our risk right now, the main time frame for our area looks like Wednesday afternoon and evening, and it's across all of, and it's supposed to be of, I apologize, not odd, of southeast Louisiana and southern Mississippi. The main concerns with this system are going to be damaging winds and isolated tornadoes. Hail does not really seem to be much of a risk, especially with squall lines. We don't really get much hail. Now, if we get any thunderstorms that develop ahead of the line, and they could be, if they get strong or severe, then yes, hail could definitely occur. But just the environment we're in right now and what we're looking at, hail is not as big a concern for our area. Flooding rain, the reason flooding rain isn't as big a concern is because this thing's going to move really fast. We're gonna be in and out probably in anywhere from about 6 to 12 hours. We're not looking at a prolonged period of rainfall. However, there is a lot of moisture to work with and some other aspects that would make the storms very efficient. So don't be surprised to see very heavy to almost extreme rainfall rates in a short time with any of the stronger thunderstorms. We could see a lot of rain with a few storms initially, but All these storms are expected to move awfully fast, so we should be okay from a flooding standpoint. So kind of understanding what our risks are, we're in that slight risk of basically a 2 of 5 right now. We do have a little bit increase in confidence, so that we were kind of wavering basically late Saturday through the day Sunday because there was a lot of uncertainty with what Rick could possibly do. Given what we see now and how the trend has been with the models, looking at satellite, even current radar, the confidence is increasing that we'll probably see some storms, some severe storms tomorrow. Maybe even scattered severe storms tomorrow. So we just have to keep a close eye on it to see if we do kind of get into this enhanced risk area. Right now, again, the main concern is wind and tornadoes. One thing to point out that this marginal, slight, enhanced, and moderate high doesn't really have anything to do with the strength of the storms. It's more to do with the coverage of the storms. So right now we're only expecting like isolated to scattered severe storms. Even with only a few, if we get a few severe storms, we could still see winds that gust to 70 miles an hour or higher, or we could see a tornado that's EF2 strength, which is considered a significant tornado, and may be longer than just a few miles, and maybe longer than just a few minutes like we normally have. However, given everything we have right now, we're not anticipating any of those long track significant tornadoes. But we can't rule that out yet. So the severe weather timing, as I mentioned, it's mainly looks like tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening. Two little areas right now we're watching. This first area obviously is from about near noon, 1 p.m. through the early evening hours. That's around the Baton Rouge Metro, Macomb, southwest, other areas of southwest Mississippi, so like Woodville, Centerville, areas like that, or like New Roads and Donaldsonville, places that surround the Baton Rouge metro area. Obviously I-55 as well, so Amite, Hammond area, or you go south towards like LaPlace and Houma, we're kind of in that first area. And then the second area is a little bit later, 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. That would include the New Orleans metro, other areas of the North Shore, Slidell, Covington, Mandeville area, and then, excuse me, all of coastal Mississippi, so Poplarville, Picayune, Biloxi, Gulfport, Bay St. Louis, Pascagoula. Those areas could also see severe weather during that later time frame, so late afternoon and through the evening hours. It also includes other areas of coastal Louisiana, like Galliano, Grand Isle, Port Fourchon. So that just is the kind of a broad timing. I do wish I would have gone a little bit wider with the timing, though. Looking at some of the trends I've seen now, it looks like things they were speeding up last night and throughout the day today. However, the last few hours, I've seen some of the newer models come in. They're starting to slow things down again, and it could be a little later for activity to really kind of get in our area. But the other concern, the reason for such a wide time frame right here, is that the main line may move through around the Baton Rouge area, that kind of first section that we're showing right here, around 1, 2, maybe 3 o'clock in the area. However, even though it may not get to New Orleans, Slidell, the Pearl River area, it may not get to that area until 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night. There is a concern that we could see isolated to scattered showers and thunderstorms out ahead of the line. If any of those storms do become severe ahead of the line, then the risk for tornadoes will increase. That's usually where we have the best chance of seeing tornadoes. They'll be able to focus a lot of the shear and the energy without having to be impacted by storms on the line. So we'll have to watch those storms out ahead of the line right now. We weren't too concerned about it a few days ago, but again, this has been a trend that we're starting to see, given the drastic increase in lift that we're going to see throughout the day tomorrow. That looks like a very real possibility. We could see a few storms out ahead. If those few storms out ahead of the line, if the line's a little slower, and those few storms ahead of it occur during the afternoon hours, especially late afternoon hours, that means we'll be able to really tap into the best instability that we're going to see. So there's a lot of stuff that's trying to line up that currently isn't, in line, but it looks like the trend may be getting, a little bit to the side we don't want it to be. Possibly a few stronger storms than we're expecting. The flash flood risk, again, that's not a major concern, but it's obviously a little bit of concern. We do have a marginal risk for flash flooding across the entire area, and that's mainly because these storms will have the potential to drop quite a bit of rainfall in a very short time. Luckily, it looks like the storms are going to move fast and out of the way, so flash flooding is definitely not a primary risk in our area. But everybody knows with any thunderstorm that can drop a lot of rain, it'll overwhelm the drainage situations rather quickly in some areas. So definitely something to keep an eye on. As we look at the rainfall forecast, you can see we're looking at kind of widespread 1 to 2 inches of rain, with some isolated areas obviously higher, especially where any of the stronger thunderstorms move. But overall, the entire area looks like anywhere from 1 to 2 inches. So again, not too bad, and obviously some places actually could use a little bit of the rain. It's been a little bit dry for the last couple of weeks. So it's just something to keep an eye on. Any of those low-lying areas that you know of where water can pile up real quickly, be cognizant of that. So, tornado warning and a tornado watch. What's the difference? I just want to remind you every time we do one of these things of certain little safety measures or some of the definitions. Remember that a tornado watch is conditions are favorable for the development of thunderstorms that capable of producing tornadoes. So basically, you're kind of watching the sky, you're watching your TV or anything else. Stay informed, know where to go in case a warning does issue. A tornado warning, though, means that we have either detected through radar, spotters, or someone has actually seen a tornado on the ground, which means a tornado is imminent or is already occurring. It means take shelter now. Go to, I know it says basement. We don't have any basements around here, but this is kind of a generic post from the Weather Service as a whole. We do have interior rooms. Some places, you do have a crawl space you can go in because the houses are elevated. So stay informed, obviously, but take shelter immediately with any tornado warnings. Now, I did mention tornado warning, tornado watch. It does not mean we won't have a severe thunderstorm watch instead of a tornado watch right now. However, given how easy it is for even weak tornadoes to develop, we usually get those tornado watches over severe thunderstorm watches. So going into, we always try to remind you, have multiple ways to get warnings. Local TV and radio, obviously, is probably the best bet. And luckily for us, it looks like this severe event's going to be during the day and the evening, so most people will be awake. Know Weather Radio is a great way to get the warnings, but a lot of us equate it more as like a fire alarm. It's there to really wake you up and kind of get your attention when you're not expecting anything. Internet, obviously, make sure that you do have your wireless emergency alerts or any weather apps turned on for tomorrow. I know you may turn them off at sometimes, but given the situation tomorrow, you go ahead and turn them on and just be ready to take any precautions necessary if a warning is issued. And then also you get information. You can get warnings or get weather information from family, friends, and coworkers. So with it being in the afternoon, some people are probably going to be still at work. Some coworkers will obviously get the information, get that from them. Before you go home, though, make sure you take a quick look at the radar because you don't want to be caught on the highway or the interstates as severe storms are moving into the area. So you can try to maybe plan your time a little bit around leaving, because the morning should be perfectly fine. However, that afternoon rush hour traffic could be kind of an issue in some areas. So be cognizant of it and make sure you're paying attention to the weather throughout the day. Now, one other thing to mention outside of the severe weather aspect is behind the cold front, which will move through Wednesday night. Winds will be really strong initially behind the front, but as we move into the day Thursday, winds are going to pick up significantly across the region. And what you're seeing right now in this image is the wind gust potential across the area. So you can see, look at Macomb, 40 miles an hour, Baton Rouge, 44, 51 though at lakefront. So what we're going to do is you're going to get those winds that are just blowing really hard off the lake and off the coastal waters, and that's going to move into portions of the South Shore. Winds are going to be really strong right there along the immediate coast of coastal Mississippi, and of course across portions of coastal Louisiana. So why are these winds that much stronger here in this area and then right along the coast? Well, because it's a lack of friction. So with there being much lower friction over the lake, the winds will pick back up, ramp up over the lake, and then as they're coming out of the northwest, they're going to go right into the New Orleans metro area. And then that could be a big problem, especially along those elevated roadways. And there is a lot of elevated roadways in the New Orleans area. But the other thing I really want people to kind of pay attention, just be aware of it, is that after Ida, there's a lot of trees right now that are damaged, compromised, or even dead and just haven't come down yet. And given that this will be the first really windy system that we've had, obviously we have the severe weather to worry about tomorrow as well, but with these gradient winds as strong as they are, they're going to have the potential to bring down some of these compromised trees or large limbs that are just kind of just hanging there. So if you have a chance tomorrow, kind of make a quick pass. Make sure you see if the trees, if they're good, there's no really large limbs broken, or your tree's not leaning, oh, you're fine. But if you noticed it, any areas that the trees are compromised, they look unhealthy, or even dead, be aware of that. Know the direction your house is pointing at. Know where the rooms are in your house, because if the wind's coming out of the west, northwest, and northwest, and you've got a compromised tree that is west of you or northwest of you, it's going to blow down into your house. So you obviously don't want to take shelter in those rooms that are closest to that tree. You want to be take shelter in portions of your house that are further away from where that tree could fall. So again, just know where your trees are, because again, it looks like the winds are going to be out of the west and northwest on Thursday, and they could be quite strong. So do be prepared for sporadic power outages with this. And then obviously any of these really compromised trees or even dead trees, there could be a few of them that come down with those winds. And that's what this graphic's trying to show right here. Just know where you're safe in your house. Know where the trees are, especially if they're damaged. And make sure you take shelter in an area that you don't have to worry about a tree falling through. And also, secure any loose items. There's still probably a lot of debris out there. I know there's still debris around my neighborhood right now. These winds really shouldn't pick anything big up, so that's not a problem. But obviously, if you got furniture and stuff outside, heck, even a trampoline or something, it could be, you get some of these really strong gusty winds, could cause it to move or even pick up at times. Obviously, you want to secure those and make sure you bring in trash cans or lawn furniture or stuff. Bring it really close to the house, or even bring it inside. The winds are probably going to be really breezy on Friday as well. They should not be as strong as Thursday, but definitely going to be breezy for those 2 days. So one more thing is kind of want to give you an idea of what we are looking at right now, just from a standpoint of the storms that are going to be coming through. Right now, this is simulated radar. Again, this is simulated, so it's not what's actually going to happen, but it does give us an idea of what we could possibly expect. I do want to go back in time, because right now that is 8 o'clock at night, and you can see this is where this model is called the HRRR, the High Resolution Refresh, or basically it's what we call one of our more favorable models we'd like to look at in a short time frame, so like the next 12, 24, 48 hours. And you can see that at this run right here, which occurred at 7 o'clock tonight, it showed thunderstorms developing around 8 o'clock across western Oklahoma and even the panhandle of Texas. Well, what is actually occurring right now is that. So that does lead some confidence into that the model's actually showing this. It does have a good grasp on what is currently happening. So looking at that gives me an idea. Let's go forward in time to see what could happen overnight, and especially as we move into our area. At this point, it looks like midnight tonight from this model. It shows that the line really blossoms across, even from Kansas through Oklahoma and well into Texas. The line will be approaching, looks like, the Oklahoma City and Dallas-Fort Worth areas sometime around 2, 3 in the morning, and then we'll continue to push off to the east. And as you can see, the southern edge of it really starts to get going again, but it's starting to approach the Houston metro area right around 7 and 8 a.m. So this is a little slower than what we were showing earlier, or what we were watching earlier. And as it continues to move east, it's now pushing into portions of Louisiana at around 11 o'clock. So just before noon it's starting to get into western Louisiana. As we continue to go east, this is our biggest concern we're watching for right now. Right, this is 2 o'clock. We still don't have the thunderstorms or the line in our area yet. However, if you do look off to the southeast of the line, so south of Baton Rouge, near Houma, Donaldsonville area, these scattered storms provide a bigger concern for us right now. And that has been a new trend in the last 24 hours. Is there's been a lot that's starting to show, these high resolution models are starting to show this area of thunderstorms developing ahead of the line. There's going to be a lot more instability out ahead of here as well. So as these storms move, they have the better potential for tornadoes or even becoming severe with damaging straight line winds. At this point in time, you're looking at 3 o'clock. At 3 o'clock, that line, the main line's still back here. It hasn't even gotten to Baton Rouge yet. But those storms out ahead of it are just approaching the New Orleans metro and not even to the North Shore yet. But that's 3 o'clock. So you're looking at now 4 o'clock. This is rush hour. The line's moving through Baton Rouge area, and the other storms that are ahead of it are moving to the New Orleans and North Shore area. Coastal Mississippi is still fine right now, but those storms out ahead of it could approach the coastal Mississippi area around 4, 5, and 6 o'clock. So again, this is coming through during kind of the peak heating, but it's also going to come through during rush hour traffic. So it's something to really keep a close eye on. Make sure you pay attention to the radar before you go home tomorrow. But the line keeps going east, and then at this point in time, we're looking at 8 o'clock tomorrow night. So it really surges through pretty quickly during the afternoon and evening hours. And as you can see at 8 o'clock at night, pretty much all of southeast Louisiana and southwest Mississippi are done. And we're really focused on coastal Mississippi and even the coastal waters. And then you get to 10 o'clock at night, and the severe threat is pretty much done for our area. The rain's done. Winds will probably be slacking off just a little bit, but then we'll see winds really ramp up during the early morning hours Thursday, especially after the sun comes up. One other model we tend to look at is this model, which is called the NAM model, but it's another little high resolution model. It hasn't really been verifying well for quite a while now, probably about a year and a half. It's still coming in right now, so it's not going to have much. But even at 8 o'clock, you can see it does have a few storms that it tried to develop in West Oklahoma, but there's nothing in Texas. Overall, it's not too different from the HRRR model we had, but it looks like it's a little bit slower, though. It's starting to approach, this line starts to approach the Oklahoma City, probably around 2, 3 o'clock, and maybe it's still just west of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. But by the time it's approaching the Houston area, you're looking at least 8 o'clock, maybe 9 o'clock, and even by 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, it's still west of the Louisiana-Texas border. So this, with the earlier run today, it did trend slower. It looks like it's still slower. If I go to a previous run, this is noon tomorrow from a previous model run. So you can see at noon, it's still west of the state line, especially across southeast Texas, and then continues to push out to the east, approaching, basically the line would approach the Baton Rouge area around 5 o'clock tomorrow. So that's a good bit slower than what we were indicating. However, what you do notice is that it's not developing any thunderstorms out ahead of the line. Not exactly sure why, because it did develop those storms yesterday. Given the amount of forcing and amount of lift that we see tomorrow, I would not be surprised to see a few, at least showers out ahead of it. But definitely a few thunderstorms out ahead of the line is probably a good possibility. But you can see it's much slower, because by this time it's 8 o'clock. And 8 o'clock at night, it is only just now crossing over I-55 and then Houma. So it still hasn't even gotten to the New Orleans metro yet. Not even halfway through the North Shore, and coastal Mississippi is watching their sitcoms late at night right now. And then finally, the line tries to move to the east. It moves through the New Orleans metro between 8 and 10 o'clock and into the coastal Mississippi area as well. But it starts to really lose on that northern section of the line. It starts to really weaken. Take this with a grain of salt. I will say, though, this is the concern right here, is that if there is a lot of thunderstorms in the Gulf of Mexico, this scenario is very possible. It could see a pretty good weakening on the north side as those storms in the Gulf of Mexico basically shut off or cut off the moisture across the region. But again, don't take these as gospel, but they do give you an idea of kind of what we're looking at. And they both show, along with some other high resolution models, they all show a broken and then rather strong line moving through our area. The bigger concern is, do we get any storms out ahead of the line? And then how much storm development do we get in the Gulf of Mexico? One other thing that we do want to discuss, it's not really shown in the models, but something that happens with some of these storms, if you remember back in April, that what we call that meso-low event, there is a possibility we could get that wake-low type event again behind it. What happens is that you'll get a lot of very stable air right behind a strong line of thunderstorms, and then you'll see this precipitation shield start to dissipate rather quickly. And what that usually leads to is what we call like a wake low, and it can lead to very strong gradient winds that are not caused by these thunderstorms, which could lead to damage. And if everybody remembers the C-Core event in April, that wake low that we had that moved through pretty much all of the area and then into especially southeast portions of southeast Louisiana, we had very strong gradient winds that were not associated with thunderstorms. So it's just something else for us to keep an eye on. But again, one of the severe threat obviously is the greatest threat right now. However, don't let your guard down about Thursday with these winds, especially if you have any compromised trees around you, because that is going to be a problem. It was the same problem that we had in Mississippi with Hurricane Katrina. There was a lot of trees that did not come down, and they were very weak, damaged, and just laying there waiting for the next really strong gust of wind to bring them down. What I'm showing right here is, again, one of those high resolution models. This is the forecast wind gust, and as you can see, look at Baton Rouge is showing 41 miles an hour. This area in the Gulf, in the Lake Pontchartrain is 45, so that's going to easily blow into even close to 50 miles an hour, blow into the South Shore areas. And it's going to be a breezy afternoon across the area on Thursday. So we will probably have a wind advisory out, probably issue that tonight for Thursday. If these keep trending this way, we may need a high wind warning, which I can't remember the last time we've issued one. And if we have, it's probably associated with one of those wake lows in the past. But this is going to be gradient winds, and you can see there's a lot of wind back in East Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, the Gulf of Mexico. We've already got gale watches out. Everything is suggesting very strong winds on Thursday. So that is it, basically, from me. Hopefully this was helpful. Again, tomorrow's severe weather event, it's typical. It's our typical severe weather event for our region. Category 2 out of 5. I wouldn't be surprised. There is a possibility we could see an enhanced risk. Not really, positive that we'll see that, but we will likely see a few severe thunderstorms tomorrow. Tornadoes are always a possibility down here. It doesn't take much. Doesn't mean they're going to be very strong. A lot of them that we get are usually weak or on the lower end. I would apologize about that, and short-lived. The concern is just to keep an eye out for those storms that pop out ahead of the line. So, but thank you very much. If you have any more questions, please don't hesitate to post them on the video. Again, we're on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. We'll post this video on YouTube as well. And then we'll continue to update you with during the day tomorrow. Everybody have a great night. Thank you.